So I'm currently stood outside the birthplace of John Franklin, a pretty quiet and unassuming house in the middle of a very small town called Spilsby in Lincolnshire. But a nice plaque here that commemorates the birthplace of John Franklin. Today it's the Cooplans, but it did used to be the family home of John Franklin. So if you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to tell you actually how he links to some of the biggest world events in really world history across the last sort of 200 years. So I'm now currently stood next to the statue of John Franklin in the middle of Spilsby. Now if you clicked on this video, you're probably aware of what John Franklin is most famous for. He's credited with the discovery of the Northwest Passage, route from the Atlantic Ocean round above the tip of Canada through the ice into the Pacific Ocean, which is massively beneficial for trade routes. The quicker you can get from the Atlantic to the Pacific, the more money there is in it for you. Now John Franklin unfortunately died along with all 120 of his men. His ship got stranded in the ice and he was forced to abandon ship and didn't survive long after that. John Franklin's wife back home in London desperately pleaded with the British government to send out a search party, and eventually that's exactly what they did. No one knew what had happened to John Franklin. It was something of a great mystery at the time. Four ships were sent out looking for John Franklin, one of which was called the HMS Resolute. Now this ship, unfortunately, also got stranded in the ice, so the search party suffered really the same fate as John Franklin. Now this ship was stranded in the ice, and the men also had to abandon ship in the same way that Franklin did. The ship was later found drifting unmanned by an American whaling company. Now, at the time, relations between Britain and America were not great after the somewhat recent Revolutionary Wars. So, as a gesture of goodwill, the American whaling company and the American government decided to send this ship back to Britain for free as a gesture of goodwill. It then served the HMS Resolute then served as in the British waters for about 20 years, and then Queen Victoria decided to return the gesture of goodwill. So it was broken apart and a desk was made out of it, which was called the Resolute desk after the original ship, and that desk was then sent back to America, and it has sat many times in the Oval Office with many famous presidents such as Barack Obama, Harry Truman, John F. Kennedy, Franklin Roosevelt. So the desk that sits currently with Joe Biden in the Oval Office is partly only there because of this man from Spilsby, a very small town in Lincolnshire. So actually has connected really to massive events throughout history. John Kennedy would have sat at this desk when thinking about the Cuban Missile Crisis. He would have sat at this desk when thinking about sending American men to the moon for the first time. Harry Truman may have sat at this desk when thinking about how to end World War II and whether or not to use nuclear weapons on Japan. So this man behind me, John Franklin, this town Spilsby, actually connects massively to world history events, really. So always something to think about, that even if you come from a small town or you have a small background in your mind, you may actually have a massive impact on the world going around. So comment below anything obscure that I may have missed about John Franklin, or that you've picked up from other videos. If you've enjoyed watching, I'll be bringing out more history on-site or on-site history videos over the coming weeks.